So I put this up a little bit earlier, but this is exciting for RFK. That Robert Kennedy is polling at 19%, according to a recent Fox News poll, and DeSantis is just polling at 21%, which is not good. DeSantis was at 28% in Fox's February poll, 15 points behind Trump. The Florida governor's support has dropped now in the last two Fox polls published since, and he now trails the former president by 32 points. And just for some context, in terms of early polling indicators of all primary elections since 1972 without incumbents running, candidates at around 30% in early primary polls, like DeSantis was in February, have gone on to become their party's nominees about 40% of the time, so not great. Candidates polling the way DeSantis is polling now, however, gone on to win about 20% of the time. Yeah. DeSantis is, we'll talk about why he might not be building momentum, but has the ship sailed, even though he might announce at any moment, John?
Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily sailed, just in that he has potential outs. Not all of the cards have been flipped over, and you never know. Maybe exactly what you need does flip in time for his.
What does he do? He's gonna just declare secession from the union.
I mean,
be like, well, I'm president anyway. What?
It could be that, Donald Trump gets locked up and that helps him, although I'm not sure that it would necessarily might help Trump at this point, but that's a wild card that could happen. Biden could keel over with a massive stroke and that throws things into chaos. He goes viral on TikTok. I don't know. I don't even know what those cards would be. But just because he hasn't yet actually declared, he hasn't actually debated Trump yet, maybe he has collected to him some of the most brutal advertisement creators, because he's definitely not going to be the guy to shred Trump, but a shredding must come for him to win. Maybe he's got people who can outdo the pudding ad. I don't think that any of those things are likely. And I think that what we're seeing is just an earlier than expected outcome that we had sort of predicted. He's not particularly charismatic. He's not particularly likable. He can sort of get the right fired up, but that's the lowest bar imaginable, and Trump is better at it than he is. I just think there were a lot of things lined up to be obstacles for Ron DeSantis, and we're just sort of seeing those work out kind of like we expected.
I mean, and then the other part of this, and we're talking about sort of like overly online, elitist white men in the program. Is he just another one of those who thinks he's giving red meat to the base, but it's really just nasty trolls on the internet that just want to demonize trans people and women and immigrants? But then when it comes down to it, everyday Republican voters are kind of just everyday any voters who want to see some kind of improvement in their daily lives. It's just he's given them everything. He's gone after Disney, even though he's losing. He's gone after trans people. He's gone after the Stop Woke Act. He's gone after American history. He, is gone after immigrants, shipping them to whatever, Vice President Harris's house. He's doing all the things, John.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think the issue is that before he was doing the exact same things that he's doing, but all he needed to do was be in Florida as the governor, and he gave them things that made him popular. And then he needed to be the Democrat, and there were enough right-wingers that loved that stuff that they kept him in office. Now he needs to beat Trump. But the thing is, you being the guy that's going to try to attack the woke and hurt trans people and all of that and hurt immigrants, yeah, all of them will. Every Republican knows that whoever ends up becoming president is probably going to be like that. Donald Trump's got a longer track record than Ron DeSantis. How are you going to beat Trump on being horrible? Even when it comes to explicitly talking about being anti-woke or attacking trans people, Trump has very easily integrated that into his stump speech.
Yeah.
I feel he just nullified Ron DeSantis's advantage in that, except he also has the years of the MAGA movement, the belief that he's the one fighting the deep state, all of that stuff. He's got whatever advantages Ron DeSantis has, plus his own unique Trumpy je ne sais quoi.
Right, exactly. Stephen Miller is just there sort of adding in the also trans athletes are evil lines into his speech that he already gives. You're right. No, you're absolutely. I feel when I see Trump do that and parrot lines that you normally see coming out of DeSantis or, any other sort of right-wing ghoul, it almost makes in my mind, him look a little weak. Do you know what I'm saying? But it could be the opposite. It could be him just sort of sweeping up the little, the sort of crumbs of whoever is moved by that message. And also, interestingly, it seems like if he does run against Trump is willing to hit him, and clearly, as per your reference to the pudding ad, wants to hit him on Medicare and Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security, and wants to distinguish himself. God, I had another thought, but my fucking brain is hurting me.
It's the woke mind virus.
It's the woke mind virus. It's just like, oh God, so much social justice. He's willing to really fight him on all of these issues. And so, vaccines specifically. And COVID numbers, Trump's trying to run on the fact that he was better on COVID, which I'm very fascinated, because I don't think that's going to play. I don't think that's going to play to Republicans, but it may play to I think it'll play to more moderate Republicans, is what I'm saying.
Look, it's possible that you're referencing a specific thing that I haven't seen, but in terms of the way that I think he's been trying to battle Ron DeSantis when it comes to COVID, he's been trying to convince them that he was better in that he was worse. He's saying, I didn't shut down the country. He shut down Florida beaches.
Right.
So he tried very briefly a little a fight against COVID. And for that, you should probably hang him. Whereas I gave up immediately. I didn't do anything to stop people from dying, which is not 100% true for either of them. And Ron DeSantis did surrender. I lost my stepfather in Florida thanks to how wild COVID ran through that state. So, after a couple of years of very briefly, and to incredibly minor levels of credit for Trump, he tried to encourage the vaccine. That was it. But he tried to do that a little bit. He got booed 4 times, and then he realized, okay, not doing that anymore. Now I hate the vaccine even more than him. Because he said in one of his ads that DeSantis got vaccinated, and it appears that he did. So he's now flipped even that.
So he's been tamed. He's been tamed by his psycho base.
I think so, yeah.
Into running away from even the one thing that he was maybe right on, which was the vaccines worked and I helped roll them out. Got it. Fun.
That's what it seems like to me. I mean, we'll see once it gets to the general election.
Do you think DeSantis will announce? Do you think he's running?
It feels like if I were DeSantis, I would throw myself off a cruise ship. But no, if I were DeSantis, I would never be able to look my wife in the eyes.
Yes, also that.
If I were DeSantis, my kid would have no.
You could never eat a meatball again.
Yeah. No, if I were DeSantis, I would burn those boots. No, if I were DeSantis, I would not. I would not announce, because I don't see how you get out of that without doing serious, long-lasting harm to your reputation, by which I mean what Republicans think of you. Your anti-reputation.
John, what's the video game questy story analogy where in order to win, you have to defeat your mentor? Is it Star Warsy, or is this his Obi-Wan? Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, okay. So in Obi-Wan, actually, there was this dark figure who had been working undercover to betray Darth Vader. And that was always going to be a super long shot. How do you take down Darth Vader?
Yeah,
and when she finally decided to do that, it was the most blunt. Yeah.
Oh, so the Vaders have gone woke?
Exactly. Well, the Vader's servants have gone woke. It was the most blundering, pointless attack that immediately got her struck down. That really feels like what we're experiencing here. It's like he's being given all of these signals that there's no way this can work. He is going to step onto that debate stage and leave a shrunken man with urine running down his legs.
I think you're right. And you know this, and just an analogy, or sort of an analogously to what happened in 2004 when John Kerry ran against George W. Bush, but tried to basically had no other line on the war on terror other than I'm going to get Osama first. I'm going to kill the terrorist debtor. And you're like, no, you need something else. And DeSantis, unlike Trump against DeSantis doesn't really have a line on why it should be him other than Trump. Not a good one, at least definitely not a political line, not a political one.
I mean, look, if he wanted to attack Trump for being so wild and chaotic that he undercuts conservative policy priorities, he could try to do that. If he wanted to attack him for, like flagrantly, breaking the law multiple times, he could do that. If he wanted to point out that the guy has clearly cheated on his wife multiple times, betraying the supposed conservative family values,
is a rapist.
He could do that. Oh, also, don't forget he's a rapist. The issue is that he would probably be hurt more by pointing out these inconvenient facts.
They'd be like, "Oh, you haven't raped anyone?" He's like, I'm sorry.
Are you really alpha if you haven't raped a couple dozen women?
Pretty much. I mean, that's the base that he's trying to attract. I think you're right. And I think that he should wait.
I think he should probably just wait. Although, to be fair, Trump has also implied that were he not to win this time, that he would run in 2028. I don't know what would be left of him at that point.
I want Trump to continue running until he's just like Brain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he already kind of looks like him. He's just like, there's some sort of SpaceX suit that's surrounding his gelatinous, like, little ball of a brain. And he still runs.
It's just a brain in a jar, and the jar is smeared with tanner.
How do I look? Wait, I've got to position. He's got to position himself right where the makeup is.
Yep. And the jar floats like 8 feet above the floor, but the tie that's tied around it still drags on the ground.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.